Yo, what is up guys, boy RapTRz here, bringing you another top tier build video. Today we're going to be covering our homie, the one and only, the motherfucking Kingpin himself, Rampage, the king of the front line as I like to call him. Great initiator, great kit, great durability, overall just a perfectly well-rounded frontline bruiser, which is the way we're going to build him here as a bruiser. As you saw in the first clip, I was able to sustain long enough against 3 enemies while my team rotated, and we were able to secure a successful team fight, just based alone on how durable I was and how that crunch thought he could kill me with his Muriel and his Grim. So just a little perfect example of what this build can do, and a perfect example of how efficient Rampage can become with an effective build, which is one based around bruiser stats like defensive cards and then also moderate damage cards as well, to be able to dish out moderate damage over the time of a team fight, and also at the same time being able to last in the team fights and protect those carries and those casters with a strong front line. So I believe bruisers are really efficient in every healthy team comp. You should at least have 2 of them in every healthy team comp, and maybe even 3 in a perfect team comp, in my opinion. Have 3 frontline building bruiser, you know, to have 2 frontline building bruiser builds, have a full tank which can be your support, then you have an all-out damage caster, and then an all-out obvious carry. Now if you can't get to the front line, you're gonna really struggle to get kills on the carry and the caster. That's why it's so important to have bruisers in your team comp, and why I'm showing you this build today and showing you one of the best heroes that you can use as the front line, which is Rampage himself. So anyways, this is top tier builds where we go from the early game to the mid game to the late game. I show you why I pick certain cards, how we built it up, and also just my little knowledge behind why I pick some of these certain cards. So let's get right into the build. So before we get into the build, let's go into the utility. What will you need for utility? For your prime card, go ahead and get the Centurion. Great card. It's going to give you 500 extra health when you activate or prime, plus it gives you extra health for minions. I feel like it's a really underrated card, and a lot of bruisers should use this instead of the Archmagus, since you're going to be focused more on defensive stats than damage stats. But I mean, if you want to take the Archmagus, that's completely fine, or the Warlord, it's completely fine. I just believe the Centurion is a better fit for Rampage. So you're also going to go ahead and get a cast token, and then also a dummy ward for the initial start of the game. You can go ahead and put a dummy ward in the enemy team jungle or by the river buff. Dummy wards, I feel like they're really effective, especially in the early game, to prevent people from getting picked off from early ganks. Now we don't have too much utility spots because there are going to be 2 other situational cards that are really important in this deck, so that's why we don't have so much utility, but we do have enough to be able to jungle. If you want to have a support kind of deck for Rampage, you can go and throw a healer token in there if you want, and then a cast token. But that's going to exclude the situational card, so you can make another separate deck for that if you really want to do that. But this deck is for a jungle role. So now we're moving on to the early game. In the early game, you want to go ahead and get a MADSTONE gem with 3 minor power in there, and it's going to be a 5-point card. It's basically going to help you get some, you know, minor power, and then also help you clear camps a little bit faster as far as in jungling goes. Then your second card is going to be a Guardian's Ward. You're going to go ahead and put 3 major health. It's a 12-point card. It's all health. Now you're wondering, wow, why do I need so much fucking health in the early game? Well, you're not going to be fully upgrading this card right away. What I usually like doing is I like getting 6 points of health in there, so I usually get 2 upgrades. Then we move on to our second card, which is a spiked BONEPLATE. And the spiked BONEPLATE, you're going to go ahead and get a 3 major guard, and then a 2 strike, and then a 1 strike. Then you're going to move on to your snake vine mesh. You're going to get a 3 barrier, 2 strike, 1 strike. They're both 9-point cards, ability armor, and also the basic armor. Once I usually get those 2 other cards providing me a little bit more power, then I fully upgrade my last health in the Guardian's Ward. So that's how the early game goes. MADSTONE gem, 6 points into the Guardian's Ward. Get your spiked BONEPLATE, fully fill that out. Get your snake vine mesh, fully fill it out. Then your last upgrade on your Guardian's Ward, go ahead and fill it out. So you're gonna have that base health already built up, and then you're gonna also have some armor built on top of that, so you can be starting to tank a little bit more damage in the early game, and you're still gonna have pretty moderate damage to be able and dish out damage during team fights or when you're ganking. So that's why I usually like going with just 6 points of health, because I don't want to be focusing all my points into health in the early game. Just 6 points is enough. Then we move on to those power cards. So now we're moving on to the mid game. In the mid game, there's not too many cards. We have same 2 cards. It's another spike bone plate, same formula, 9 points. It's gonna be a 3 guard, 2 strike, 1 strike. Same thing, another snake vein mesh, another 9-point card. It's gonna be a 3 barrier, 2 strike, and then a 1 strike. So I really like how this build curves out during the mid game, because you still manage to build your base health before building any armor. It is been proven mathematically to have built up a pool of health first before slotting some armor, so that's always good. You always, in any type of build, if you're gonna build tanky, you need to build your health first to be able to get the most use out of your armor. If you do it the opposite way, if you build your armor first and then some health, you're not going to be using that armor to its most effective state, because you need a bigger pool of health before your armor could start being effective, which is why we have a Guardian's Ward. And the Guardian's Ward doesn't really have a big fully upgraded bonus. I believe you just get more 50 extra health, so you have that access to that health whenever you need some. And usually I like going with just 6 points, and then, you know, going into those power cards later, and then just fully upgrading it later, and then going into the mid game, getting more armor and more damage, just to emphasize that tankiness, that bruiserness. That's another fucking term I just made up. And yeah, you still build pretty good damage in this deck, and that's why I like having it curve out this certain way. So now we're going to move on to the late game. In the late game, we have one final card. It's a 12-point card, and it is the ELDERMAGE Amulet. Now in the ELDERMAGE Amulet, it's a little bit different. You're going to go ahead and put 2 slots of major health and then 2 major slots of strike. So you have 4 upgrades in total. Now this is going to correlate to the other cards we're about to mention right now, which are our situational cards. Okay, so that's how the ELDERMAGE Amulet is. It's a 12-point card. You're either going to get 2 strikes, a health, or you're going to get 2 health and a strike. That's how it usually goes. You're gonna be wondering, okay, how do I know which one to slot? Do I slot 2 major health and then a major strike, or do I slot 2 major strikes and a health? Well, we have two situational cards that really complement Rampage and really help in higher elo play. You may not be using these if you're kind of in a lower elo, because when it comes to counter cards or situational cards, it's really impactful. You may not realize it, but these cards can be really impactful. So our 2 situational cards are both 9-point cards. Our first situational card is TOXI-GEL. Basically what TOXI-GEL does, it gives you a burst cleanse when you take more than 400 damage in a matter of 2 seconds, I believe. So basically, if you get rooted or stunned and you take more than 400 damage, it'll just remove the root or the stun from your hero. But the reason why we're getting TOXI-GEL is basically to counter cards that are really popular that are used against Rampage, and those are cards that apply Blight. What does Blight do? Blight basically reduces your healing by 40%. 40% is really hindering for Rampage, especially when he's ulting. If you're ulting and you're getting massive amounts of health regen and somebody hits you with a Blight, it will reduce your ultimate healing by 40%, which can really hinder your frontline role as Rampage and not make you as effective. So that's why we have Burst Cleanse, to basically counter that card, to counter the counter card that people are using to counter you. It's just amazing. This is why I like TOXI-GEL, because okay, they're thinking, okay, there's a Rampage, let's get that let's get that thermal bond. Oh no, not thermal bond, I apologize guys. The other card is Thick Blood and Power Cord. Those are the cards that apply Blight to. So they're thinking, okay, there's a Rampage, let's get Thick Blood and Power Cord to basically to counter his ultimate, right? Well, you have another trick up your sleeve. You have a counter card to counter their counter card that is countering you. You're thinking ahead of the game. You're up there. You're thinking. You're ahead of it. So basically, in TOXI-GEL, you're gonna go ahead and put 3 minor health. It's gonna be a 9-point card, 3 minor health, and you're gonna get that basically that effective stack that is used against Rampage that a lot of people like using, especially in higher elo play. It's better than Hunter's Gal. Hunter Gals work the same way, but Hunter's Gal, you can only use it one time. With TOXI-GEL, it completely recycles every 2 seconds. Every time you take more than 400 damage, boom, burst cleanse. Basically, Hunter's Gal buffed up way better than Hunter's Gal, guys. Way better than Hunter's Gal. It's just TOXI-GEL. Keeps refreshing every 2 seconds you take damage. So you're gonna go ahead and get those 3 minor health, and that correlates back to our ELDERMAGE amulet. You're getting 3 major health. Okay, I need more damage. So when you get more damage, you're gonna go ahead and get 3 major strike and then a major health. So that's basically the math and the correlation behind the ELDERMAGE amulets and why we have 4 upgrades. Get TOXI-GEL. Okay, you're getting more health with TOXI-GEL. Okay, you need more damage with your ELDERMAGE amulet. Go ahead and slot that. Now we have another card. It's basically the card I was just talking about, and it's Power Chord. Power Chord is another 9-point card. You're gonna go ahead and put 3 minor power in that. Basically, what Power Chord does on a basic attack, you apply Blight to an enemy, basically reducing their healing by 40%. This is really cool to counter another Rampage on the enemy team. And then also to counter lifesteal builds, and you know lifesteal builds are super popular right now, especially in every elo. They're super popular right now. Lifesteal and crit chance builds. Basically, this is a counter card to lifesteal. If the enemy has lifesteal and they have 10% lifesteal and you hit them with a blight, their healing is going to be reduced to 6% lifesteal. And that's not going to be really effective at all, especially for the build they're going for. And it's just basically going to shut down their lifesteal and be able for other enemies in your team to pick them off, because their sustainability is cut off. That's the only form of sustain, is their lifesteal. And if you shut that down, that is devastating, and that gives you a big edge in a team fight, especially as a front line. And if you're lasting long in those team fights, applying Blight, continuously just applying Blight to the carry, which is usually carries run lifesteal, and if you focus a carry and you keep applying that blight stat to them, you're completely shutting down their sustainability that they're having built in that deck. So it's really good card to counter lifesteal and counter another Rampage. So same thing, it correlates back to our ELDERMAGE amulet, right? You're getting more damage with Power Chord, so now you need more health. So you go back to your ELDERMAGE amulet, you grab 2 greater health and a major strike. So that's basically how the deck rolls. They correlate with each other, ELDERMAGE amulet and these 2 situational cards, okay? So if you get TOXI-GEL, you're getting more health with TOXI-GEL. You're going to need more power with ELDERMAGE amulet. If you're getting Power Chord, you're getting more power with Power Chord, so you need more health with ELDERMAGE amulet. I hope it's not too confusing. It's not really confusing. Once you use this deck one time, you will see how easy it is to manipulate those upgrades, okay? You could take both cards. If they're running a blight stat that can counter you, go ahead and run your TOXI-GEL. If they're running a lot of lifesteal, you know, 3 people are running lifesteal, then go ahead and get your, I really do recommend getting your Power Chord, because you get more benefit of applying those blight stats and countering those 3 heroes that may be running lifesteal instead of being more tanky. So when you get rid of so basically to make room for TOXI-GEL and Power Chord, you need to get rid of one of your 9-point cards, whether it's a Spiked Boneplate or an Snakevine Mesh, okay? So if you get TOXI-GEL, you need to get rid of a 1 Spiked Boneplate or 1 Snakevine Mesh. Same thing, basic thinking. You know, if they're running a lot of ability damage, then go ahead and get rid of a Spiked Boneplate, and vice versa. If they're running a lot of basic damage, then go ahead and get rid of your Snakevine Mesh. And if you're getting both cards, then just get rid of 1 Spiked Boneplate and 1 Snakevine Mesh. Now, if they're not running much lifesteal and they're not running any kind of blight cards, then go ahead and roll with the full build and basically take your ELDERMAGE amulet with 2 greater health and 2 major strike. So most of the time you're going to be rolling with the 2 major health and 2 major strike in the ELDERMAGE amulet, but again, it comes down to those situational cards again, okay? So basically that's the full build. I'm going to show you the full build hero stats with level 60 with 60 CXP, level 15 without any of the situational cards. But with the situational cards, both of them, you're still rounding around 1,000 HP with those cards. Alright, so we're moving on to the Paragon deck builder website. This is a really good tool if you haven't used it. I always use this for building builds for you guys, but we're going to test the build, and I'm basically going to show you the stats that come out with the final build. So we're going to go to test build. We have our deck over here all nice and stuff. So let's go to the full builds. Our full build, Guardian's War, 3 major health, ELDERMAGE amulet. We're going to save that for last, but we are getting our Spiked Boneplate. We're also getting our other Snakevine Meshes and our other cards. So we're just going to fill this out. And this is basically the full build right here. Oh no. So you're gonna go ahead and get, what is it? So we need more health. Yeah, there we go. So you're gonna go 2 greater health and a major strike in the full build. Okay, so you get 2 greater health and a major strike. So this is the full build right here with our snake vine mesh and our spike bone plate and our ward. You're gonna get 126 power, and then you're also gonna get max health of 1,000. So you're gonna have 2,589 health. That's more than enough health to be able to tank in the front line. You're also gonna have 84 plus 84 basic resistance, and then 48 extra ability resistance, which is freaking amazing. That's really, really good. Those are good stats, good bruiser stats. 126 power is more than enough power for you as a bruiser. Keep in mind, as a bruiser, you're not focusing on a shit ton of damage like a carry or a caster would. You're just building moderate damage to be able to dish out a fair amount of damage over time in the team fight, especially if you last that long. So it's always good to have a lot of health and then build your armor. That's what we go for. So let's go ahead and go to the situational cards, right? So you get rid of your ELDERMAGE amulets. You're kind of in the late game and they're running a freaking they're running blights or whatever, so you need TOXI-GEL, right? So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of our snake vine mesh. Maybe they're running a shit ton of freaking basic attack carries, you know. So let's go ahead and get our TOXI-GEL. We run that. So we're getting a lot of health, right? So we need ELDERMAGE amulets with more damage, greater health, major strike, major strike. So now we have 120 power, just a little bit less from last time, but we have that also crucial burst cleanse, which is down here. And then we still have a lot of health. We have extra health. In fact, we have 1,100 extra health, and then same pretty good amounts of ability armor and basic resistance. So let's go ahead. Maybe you need power cord. Okay, so get rid of your ELDERMAGE amulet. You're in the mid game and you see they're running a lot of lifesteal, so you get a power cord. Same thing, ELDERMAGE amulet. What is it, guys? They're running. You're getting more damage. You're getting more damage. You need more health. So major health, major strike. You're always going to get a major strike and a major health, all right? You're just going to decide on the last one whether you need a strike or a health. Since we're getting med damage, we need health. So get another health. Same thing, here are the stats. We're 126 power. We're basically cruising. We're cruising around 120 every time. And then you get 1,000 health again. Another 1,000 health. That doesn't change. And then more ability. And then the ability armor and the basic armor is basically the same. And then you get that passive, which applies blight. Now the third situation, you want both of these cards. Same again, TOXI-GEL, get that. But we need to get rid of one of another armor card. So we're gonna go ahead and go to a spike bone plate, get rid of that. You're gonna get an ELDERMAGE amulet, then basically get the last cards, and it's gonna be a health, which is the card you want to go with. 2 greater health and a major strike is what you want to go with here, just to emphasize a little bit more on tankiness. So we're rolling around 102 power for that one, but you're getting those really crucial stats that are really more effective than running more extra damage. And you're still getting 1,250 health, and then your basic resistance and your ability armor is still pretty high up there to be able to tank some more damage. And then you're getting those 2 stats right there. I mean, you could roll with more damage, and oh, actually it'll be better. Yeah, it'll be better rolling with more damage. You get 120 power and you're still getting around 1,100 power health right here. So yeah, actually it'll be better to roll with 2 major strikes than a health. That's honestly probably what I would be rolling with if I do gotta pick TOXI-GEL and power cord. So 120 power, we got 1,100 extra health, and then your ability armor, your basic armor is pretty stacked still. And then you get those 2 cards still, which are really good, TOXI-GEL and power cord. So yeah, that's basically the build, guys, right there. I mean, obviously the perfect way you want to run it is with your armor cards, you know. But obviously that's situational. Most of the times you might have to get your TOXI-GEL or your power cord, but that's the final build right there. Get it, you need to get rid of this. Yeah, that's the final build. 2 greater health and a major strike. That's the final build. This is a perfect build right here. 126 power, 1,000 extra health. You got more ability armor and basic armor, and that's basically how you run it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys like these videos, or if you like me using the deck builder, then go ahead and leave a like or tell me. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. It does influence me and help me make more videos like this. Leave your builds down in the description if you have other bruiser builds that just work as well as this one. But yeah, it's your boy RapTRz, and I'll see you on Paragon, guys. So thank you.